You look a bit nervous, eh?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX,
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7, The Fox, State College.
And a very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into our Thursday show here on, wherever you find our location. Working to see if we can get something arranged with the radio station set up again here. And hopefully we may have an announcement on that and an update on where we stand with the radio station situation either next week or the following week. But right now, nothing on the airwaves here locally as again, we're trying to work through some things on that particular front. Couple of things just out of the gate. We did not mention and should have mentioned on Tuesday's show the passing of Bill Mazeroski, Pirates legend, of course, the terrific defensive second baseman, but will forever be remembered for the walk-off game-winning home run against the New York Yankees in 1960. And Bill Mazeroski, just known as a remarkably humble and nice man, and obviously forever a Pirates legend. Lost him, and then lost on Monday Bobby Douglas, the longtime coach at Iowa State in wrestling, also coached Arizona State to a national championship. Bobby finished up his collegiate wrestling at Oklahoma State and was one of the best technicians, technical coaches in the country, and obviously from Penn State's perspective, very importantly coached both Cale and Cody Sanderson in college. Bobby Douglas passing away on Monday, and again leaves just a tremendous legacy of wrestling expertise behind. So lost two of the really great ones in Bill Mazeroski in baseball with the Pirates, and Bobby Douglas with Arizona State and Iowa State in wrestling, and was, again, just a terrific wrestler in his own right as well. And certainly rest in peace, Bill Mazeroski and Bobby Douglas. Pirates continuing to make some noise here in spring training. A lot of optimism, as much optimism as we've had in quite some time around the Pirates. How much of it is justified remains to be seen. And will, a Connor Griffin make the opening day roster? How long do Pirates fans need to wait to see some of the rising stars? Bubba Chandler has shown some glimpses of why folks are so high on what he can do at the next level. But again, when exactly we'll see these guys and how much they'll contribute this season all remains to be seen. But a lot of reasons for optimism. And then you remember who owns the Pirates, and frustration sets in. But we'll see. Again, a lot of good things happening. A lot of pop in the bat through the early, through the first week here of spring training for the Pirates. Did get some news on the wrestling front today, and we got the latest coaches rankings, the latest RPI rankings, also got the conference allocations for the NCAA tournament and the automatic bids that will be given to each conference with how many wrestlers at each weight class will go from each conference, and we'll run through that with the Big Ten here as the show progresses. And of course, Penn State football continuing to make the adjustment to a new staff, a new head coach, and also Penn State fans following the NFL scouting combine out in Indianapolis. So a lot going on all of those fronts. Meanwhile, Penn State hockey getting ready for another big series at Notre Dame this weekend. Penn State women's basketball, believe it or not, can lock up a Big Ten tournament bid with a victory here on Friday over Indiana after the win over USC last night. And so the winter sports season continuing to roll right along, and we will see what happens with the Lady Lions. I think the men's hockey team, obviously Gavin McKenna, the Big Ten first star of the week after his spectacular performance against Ohio State over the weekend. And it does feel like Penn State is rounding into form here and is indeed going to be a top contender when the Big Ten tournament gets underway. And then the NCAA tournament to follow. Let's go to Penn State Wrestling. The Nittany Lions, again, will be hosting the Big Ten Championships a week from Saturday, and then that'll wrap up the following Sunday. Penn State with a very good showing, maybe as good a showing during the dual meet season as we've seen in the Big Ten from any program. Certainly strong argument to be made that this was the best dual meet season in Penn State history. I'm not sure there's really a lot of argument against that when it's all said and done. But now you move to the postseason, and it's a different season, different expectations, and different pressures that come with it. And Penn State, under Cale Sanderson and Cody Sanderson and Casey Cunningham, have done very well at dealing with those expectations and coming up big time and time again. But whether or not Penn State can do what it feels like it could do remains to be seen. And I think they do go into the Big Ten tournament with a wave of momentum and a lot of good feelings about what can be accomplished here in the upcoming season. Thank you very much. As, again, the allocations came out. Let's start there. The allocations for the Big Ten, top 9 will go at 125, top 8 at 133, the top 7 at 141, the top 9 at 149, the top 8 at 157, the top 9 will go at 165, top 10 will go at 174, the top 8 at 184, the top 10 advance to the NCAA tournament from 197, and the top 9 at heavyweight. So 87 in all automatic qualifiers from the Big Ten, far and away the most in the country. 63 will get automatic bids from the Big 12. There will be 39 automatic bids handed out to the ACC, and then it is 27 to the MAC, 26 to the EIWA, and 23 to the Ivies, and then 13 to the Pac-10 and 10 to the Southern Conference. Only the champion at each weight class is assured an NCAA tournament bid. And most of the weight classes have 4 at-large opportunities then. And I think, so I'm going to go through here one more time. I think there were just 2 weight classes that have 5. Yeah, 2 weight classes, 125 and 165 will have 5 at-large bids. The other 8 weight classes all will have 4 at-large bids handed out after the conference tournaments are over. And when it comes to the RPI and the coaches' rankings, let's start with the coaches' rankings because I think there's a little more indication of kind of where things can play out, depending obviously on the conference tournament finish. But you're looking at Luke Lillidahl as number 1 in the coaches' rankings, of course, number 1 in Intermat, number 1 in just about everything outside of RPI, and not terribly surprising that the Big Ten has Lillidahl and Bouzakis. They're expected to be seeded 1 and 2 at Big Tens, and depending on how everything plays out, could be 1-2 at the NCAA tournament as well. Dean Peterson, largely expected to be the 3 seed at the Big Ten tournament for Iowa, is ranked 7th in the coaches poll. At 133, and again, to me, 133, I know there's some debate out there about what the strongest weight class is. I think it's 133. I think if it's not the strongest, it has the potential to be the most entertaining anyway. I think, though, it is the deepest weight class in terms of top-end guys. And what makes it especially interesting, or I think will make it exciting for fans, is the number of freshmen. While you have Lucas Bird, number 1 in the coaches poll, you have Penn State's Marcus Blaze, a freshman, number 2, Ben DeVino, a redshirt freshman, number 3, Jax Forrest, the freshman from Oklahoma State, number 4, and Jax actually really should be finishing up his senior year in high school right now. Aaron Seidel, another freshman for Virginia Tech, number 5. Then you have Evan Frost, 6, Kyler Larkin, 7, and Drake Ayala, 2-time NCAA finalist, sitting there at number 8. And when you see a Tyler Knox or a Jacob Van D, they are 9 and 10, not projected to be on the podium in the coaches' rankings. That gives you a pretty good idea of just how strong and deep the weight class is. I mean, even Adam Serrano from Northern Iowa, who's 11, Braxton Brown is 12. These are pretty darn good wrestlers. You're looking at Zane Fugit from Wisconsin down at number 15 in the rankings, a very dangerous wrestler. That weight class, to me, again, just has a chance to be wildly entertaining, and probably has as many guys going into the postseason that different fans will think can or will win the NCAA title as any other way. 141 sure feels like Jesse Mendez's to lose, although Sergio Vega has been absolutely sensational for Oklahoma State and is 2. But Mendez will be the number 1 seed, obviously the Big Ten tournament, ranked number 1. Brock Hardy is 4. It is Braden Davis at number 12 in the coaches poll. Nasir Bailey of Iowa is 11. And then Vance Vombauer of Minnesota is 8. When you look at the other Big Ten kids that are ranked in the coaches poll at 141. Again, I think 141 is going to be interesting as well after Jesse Mendez. And I never, again, it's sports, crazy things happen. Don't think Mendez is an absolute automatic lock, but certainly rightfully a prohibitive favorite at 141 to win both the Big Ten and the national title. But Brock Hardy, I think a threat anyway at the Big Ten tournament, and Sergio Vega certainly at the NCAA tournament. And you could probably throw in, like a Luke Stanich from Lehigh as, maybe if you're looking for a surprise, Anthony Kamendia from Iowa State, extremely talented as well. I do think it's going to be interesting to see how Braden Davis fares here in the postseason. And I will not be surprised if coming out of Big Tens, Davis is one of the bigger stories for Penn State. I think he may very well be one of the pleasant surprises for Penn State. He's one of the few guys that can make a significant move up in the seedings as a result of Big Tens. Again, if you go in as the number 1 wrestler in the country, not really a chance to move up. And Penn State obviously has a bunch of those heading into the Big Ten championship. 149, Shane Van Ness is number 1 in the coaches ranking. PJ Duke is number 2, interestingly, in the coaches ranking. He's number 4 in the Intermat rankings, but he is number 2 behind only Antrell Taylor, who is number 1 for Nebraska in the coaches rankings. And then Myers Shapiro of Cornell is 3. And then it is Caleb Larkin of Arizona State, 4 in the coaches poll. Robidoux from Oklahoma State, Landon Robidoux is 5. Vinny Zurban is 6. And again, from the Big Ten perspective, Taylor and Duke, and then Brandon Cannon is going to be kind of the wild card here, and whether he ends up competing for Ohio State in the postseason, and how that can change things up there with those rankings or seedings. Mitchell Messenbrink is number 1 at 165. Joey Blaze, Marcus's older brother, is number 2 for Purdue, and Mikey Caliendo number 3. So the Big Ten running the top 3 spots there, and then Ladarian Lockett is down to number 4 here for Oklahoma State. Levi Haynes for Penn State, number 1 at 174. Simon Ruiz of Cornell is 2, and then Patrick Kennedy of Iowa is 3, with Chris Minto of Nebraska 4, and Carson Harchla from Ohio State 5. So 4 of the top 5 at 174 from the Big Ten, led by top-ranked Levi Haynes. Rocco Welsh of Penn State, number 1 at 184. Aiden Sinclair, the always dangerous Missouri standout, and Max McAnally of Minnesota, who I'm still seeing. A lot of people think that he is still the guy to beat, both at Big Tens and at Nationals. Certainly those 3, along with Silas Allred, should make for some interesting postseason action. James Conway is sitting there at number 4 from Franklin and Marshall. Allred is 5. Brock Mantanona from Michigan is 6. Dylan Fishback of Ohio State 7. And then Eddie Nightenbach from Wyoming is number 8. Former Nittany Lion Zach Ryder, now at Oklahoma State, is number 10 in the rankings this week at 184. This is, again, the coaches poll. Josh Barr, number 1 at 197. Rocky Elam of Iowa State is number 2, and Joey Novak of Wyoming, number 3. The next highest ranked Big Ten wrestler is Camden McDaniel of Nebraska, down at number 13 here at 197. And then a heavyweight is interesting because Colt Mirasola is up to number 5 in the Intermat rankings this week. He's number 8 in the coaches rankings. Younger Bastida from Iowa State, number 1. Isaac Trumbull of North Carolina State, number 2. And then it's A.J. Ferrari, the highest ranked Big Ten wrestler, at number 3 for Nebraska. Tay Gadali from Michigan is number 4. And then it's Nick Feldman, number 5 for Ohio State. Connor Doucette from Oklahoma State is 6. Christian Carroll of Wyoming, 7. And then Cole Mirasola again is 8, with Nathan Taylor of Lehigh, 9th, and Ben Keeter of Iowa checking in at number 10. Also, the 11 and 12 wrestlers are also from the Big Ten. Braxton Amos from Wisconsin is 11, and Corey Hopke from Minnesota is 12. So it is going to be interesting to see where Cole Mirasola is seated, because I do think it'll make a difference in terms of the projections here in the Big Ten tournament. You would think, despite the coaches' rankings, that Mirasola's win over Feldman means he will be seeded 3rd at the Big Ten championships. And if that is the case, that would mean a rematch with Tay Gadali in the semifinals, whereas if he was the 4th seed and actually seated behind Feldman, he would then be on the same side of the bracket as A.J. Ferrari, the number 1 seed for Nebraska. Now, if you're going to win the title, again, it doesn't matter what order you're facing these guys, but from a point-scoring perspective, I think the matchup there with Gadali is a better one for Mirasola than Ferrari, although, again, the way Cole is wrestling right now, certainly don't put it past him beating anybody in the field there at heavyweight. All right, we're going to take a break here, and we will be back with another segment, likely our final segment of this Thursday edition. Again, still trying to figure some things out here on the radio front and trying to get some things back in order and see if we can get back on the air here in the State College area sooner rather than later. But we'll take a break here and be back with another segment on our Thursday edition. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show, coming to you live today from Quaker Steak and Lube.
You look a bit nervous, eh?
Terry, What's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College.
And we are back here on a Thursday afternoon, heading into what should be another really fun sports weekend. A couple of things just wanted to touch on. One is the very interesting lawsuit that is being filed by Cincinnati. Kind of felt this was a matter of time. And in what I'm reading through it, I'm not even sure why there needs to be a lawsuit. This seems cut and dried, unless there's something more in the language in the contract than what is being reported. But Cincinnati had a star quarterback, Brennan Sorsby, signed with Cincinnati, all kinds of opportunities on the marketing front for Sorsby and for Cincinnati. And then Sorsby transferred to Texas Tech. Texas Tech reportedly paying him about $4 million. Cincinnati is suing Sorsby, saying that Sorsby now owes the school about $1 million for a buyout that was written into the contract. And if what is being reported is accurate, again, to me, this is a pretty easy open and shut, and I don't know the legal ins and outs, so maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems pretty cut and dry that, hey, you signed a contract, and it is specifically written in there that if he transfers, I think it's by the end of December of 2026, anytime before then, that you got to pay $1 million. It's a buyout because of the marketing agreement that the school and player had. So we'll follow that case. Not a great look, I think, for Cincinnati or for Sorsby. But if I'm Cincinnati, I'm making the move. Again, if you sign with a team, and I think we're going to see more and more language being pretty clear cut here when a player signs with a school about what the expectations are and what will occur if you don't meet your end of the bargain. And it's going to include, certainly with some of the bigger names and bigger stars, the buyout clauses. But I suspect it's going to contain some sort of buyout option there for all of the players moving forward. Now, the other one that caught my attention earlier today, and I just saw this shortly before we were coming on the air, but an NCAA rules, I'm reading this directly from CBS Sports, NCAA rules subcommittee proposing a 1-year trial rule to modify the rules regarding targeting penalties. And we're going to go over these. I think it's a step in the right direction. I really think they just need to revisit the entire thing even more than what they're suggesting here. This is primarily dealing with the disqualification component, and the proposal under this recommendation would be that players who are disqualified from a game, regardless of which half, you're eligible to play the next week if it is your first targeting disqualification of the season. So right now, if you are called for targeting and it's in the second half of a game, then you must sit out the first half of the following game. Under this rule, doesn't matter first or second half, you're disqualified for the game that you're participating in, but if it's your first offense, first targeting call against you in a season, you're good to go the following week regardless. Now, this is where, I'm good with that. If the rule changes, again, this would go into effect in the upcoming season, but a player who is targeted then a second time during the season, or who is, disqualified from a game for targeting a second time, would miss the first half of the following game. And then regardless of when the targeting occurred. And then if there was a third disqualification for targeting, that would result in the player being suspended for the entirety of the next game. Now, on the surface, I think what they're getting at here is probably not a bad objective. Let's not go overboard in penalizing somebody who makes a mistake. What concerns me, and I just not not all targetings are the same. Okay, I get the danger component and the safety issues, and that's the ultimate primary goal here. But I would rather that there be some sort of a review panel, not the officials on game day, but some sort of review panel that kind of determines the degree to which the targeting foul occurred. And I don't think you want to make it too complicated, but just if it's a two offense, a higher offense, you're launching, you're pretty clearly intending to head-to-head contact. All right, then you're suspended for either that half or for the following game. I do worry that there are those bang plays that occur every week, and if you get just caught in the wrong situation a couple of times, then you're going to get, again, my opinion, unfairly selected for missing additional time. Whereas even that first time offense, if it is a vicious, again, hard to get inside the mind of the player, I understand that. But there are times where it sure looks and feels like, yeah, all right, that was pretty much intentional. And other times where you can see the player maybe is even trying to avoid the contact, but the offensive player ducks his head or raises his head, and unfortunately, you have the collision occur. I do like this better than the rules now, where you're just in the second half, you're automatically missing the first half of the next game. And I think to some degree, right, I guess you can say, well, we're telling you now, if you're a player and you have this offense, you need to take that extra step to assure that you're not making that head-to-head contact. Again, that sounds great, and yep, adjust. And then you have the reality of guys flying to the football as fast as you can, and people changing their head level and body level in an instant. And I still worry that I understand the targeting rule and the intent of it and all for it. I don't know what the answer is. It just feels like you're potentially here still really hammering people who are, again, my wording, playing the game the right way, not out there trying to create unsafe situations. They're just flying to the football, and sometimes that helmet-to-helmet contact really is unavoidable. It's just nothing you can do when you have two people flying at each other as fast as they can. And, if they both lower at the same time, or I mean, there are times where it's truly not possible to change the contact or the helmet-to-helmet hit. And I just think there needs to be something in place where you're not unnecessarily penalizing somebody who is clearly not out there with the intent of head hunting. Now, that's always going to be a little subjective. I mean, even as I'm saying it, I'm realizing the argument against it is, all right, what if you have a committee of three and they're all looking at it and two of them say absolutely one thing and the other says absolutely the other? And we certainly have seen that with instant replay, and you've heard announcers, well, this call is going to get overturned, and hey, the call is upheld. Along rules, there's been a lot of discussion on the reaction time in wrestling, changing back to wrestling here, because hey, it's just me today. The reaction time is getting a lot of talk, and right now the reaction time, it is the official's discretion. And the problem is when it's the official's discretion, you have different officials and they're going to see and rule differently. And then that makes it very difficult for wrestlers to know, all right, this is what we can expect in a particular dual meet, or, even after review. And I'm not exactly sure what the answer is, but it feels to me like if you have control, even if it is for a split second, if you have that full control, maybe you allow, maybe it is 1 second, maybe it's half of a second, and you put the clock up, whatever. I think we're getting too liberal this year in the use in some matches by officials of reaction time. Reaction time, yes, and I don't want, again, a takedown to be awarded if you truly have that control for just the split second. But they need to write into it either, and I didn't have a problem with the rule where they didn't allow the reaction time. It was just a takedown. That still seems like the best way to me to go about it. If especially what everybody keeps saying is they want to create more scoring. Americans we like our scoring. We like the higher scoring baseball games, higher scoring football games, higher scoring wrestling matches. Well, if that's true, then just, again, get rid of the reaction time altogether the way it was. And yep, I get it. There's going to be situations where like, oh man, I don't know. Well, okay. I would rather have that. More points on the board, and therefore more onus on the wrestler who gives up the takedown in that situation to go get those points back, i.e. it should be creating more opportunity for scoring, or at least for action to occur in the match. So I don't really see the downside in that. And I think it takes out the always dangerous, all right, it's the official gets to decide it, because it's impossible to have consistency then. Unless all of the officials get together and agree, all right, we're going to call it exactly this way every time. And again, that's not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to just, hey, we see that as a takedown, or we see that as not a takedown. I just think you're better off getting, however it's written. If you want to allow all right, exactly 1 second of reaction time, or you want to write that in, I'm okay with that. I think that's preferable over what we have. But I just soon not have the reaction time. Go back to, yep, if you get a base point on the body down and you're in control for even a split second, that's a takedown. I just think it eliminates the confusion, eliminates the concern over subjectivity when it comes to important, crucial moments in a bout or a dual meet or tournament. And I just think the more objective you can make the calls, the better off it is for the sport. So that would be my preference. There's been a lot of talk of that. And then the strike zone with baseball is also getting a lot of attention here. I forget what game it was this week where they had 5 straight pitches that were overruled because the umpire got them, again, by the strict definition of the strike zone, he was wrong. The issue there, and maybe I'm coming at this from just too much from the tradition perspective, but I do think that is part of baseball, is adjusting to the strike zone of a given umpire on a given day. Now, you hope that the umpire, right, is consistent. And I understand the strike zone, and hey, if you have the technology, get it right. I understand the argument, and maybe that is the right thing to do. Maybe it's the fairest thing to do. I do think it takes away, to me, a little bit from the strategy involved in baseball. And, you're still going to have pitchers obviously trying to paint the corners, and they're still going to be either just off or just in. And even if you're using, all right, it's exactly right, I guarantee you're still going to have pitchers and batters kind of looking and questioning the technology, because that's just human nature. We feel like we're seeing what we think we see in the moment, or feel what we're feeling in the moment. But it does feel like we're heading in that direction, where it's just going to be, all right, this is the exact, and they adjust with height and stance and all of that. This is the exact strike zone, and either the ball's in and you get the call, or it's not and you don't get the call. And it is going to be a much more precise science, and much less a part of the game where there's nuance there. There will be no nuance if that is the direction that we ultimately end up going here. So I'm not a fan of it, but I think it's pretty much inevitable at this point. And I don't think it's the end of the world. I think, again, to me, it takes away kind of one of those fun little elements, the game within the game, that to me helps separate baseball from other sports. But again, we're seeing more and more baseball not wanting to separate itself from other sports. And, a lot of the rules probably have helped it in terms of the popularity. And as always, when fans object to changes, or media folks object to, this rule isn't any good, you adjust to it. Whatever the rules are, even if you still don't like it, it's if you like the sport, you still follow it. You still, you can bemoan it, and gives you one thing to complain about. And truthfully, I think there's a lot of us that's part of what we like about sports and life is, hey, opportunity to complain. That's not the way it should be. I know how it should be. So don't think it's the end of the world, but my preference would be we not go to the very precise strike zone and review every play. And again, you can do it almost instantly. Yep, that was definitely a strike. That was definitely a ball by, a centimeter one way or the other. I mean, that's the type of precision we have with the technology now. And it does feel like we're heading down that path. And again, maybe it is from a fairness standpoint, maybe that is absolutely the best thing to do, the right thing to do. But to me, it takes a little bit of the game away, the game within the game, that to me made baseball a little more fun to watch and a little more interesting to see on a given day how something, that this umpire was going to call it and how this team was going to adjust to it in a particular game. All right, we're going to take one more break here, and then we'll be back with just a short wrap-up here for our Thursday edition. Beloved Pirates now up 4-3 in Grapefruit League action down in Florida. The Buccos now leading the Twins. And again, a lot of higher expectations anyway for the Nittany Lions in the upcoming season. All right, we'll take a break here, and again, back with a final wrap here on our Thursday show. After this, it is the Line Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, What's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College.
And back here for a final few minutes on this Thursday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Quaker Steak Lube, great place to come on down and watch your spring training baseball right now, as well as your NHL back into the swing of things here, NBA action, obviously all of the college sports, and getting underway here, kind of full swing now with college baseball season. Penn State scheduled to open its home schedule next week. We'll see. I did see the softball team has already announced it. It is scrapping what was going to be the Penn State Invitational next weekend, and instead will add a road tournament going a little further south, and now we'll open up the home schedule with the Big Ten opener against Wisconsin. So having to make adjustments. Also did see, sticking with Penn State sports for a moment, we had some just really cool pictures that Erica Dombach posted, the head coach of the women's soccer team, and appreciation for the Jeffrey Field locker room. Drove by it actually today, and they will have, I think, an improved concession stand, restrooms, and but the facility itself, just very nice for the soccer team to have that right at the field. Obviously, they have the bubble now over there as well. So nice to have the opportunity to be able to have everything within, a very short walk there for the soccer teams. And, I think looking forward, it's going to be interesting to see with the facilities with Penn State, kind of some of the ongoing adjustments. And there's obviously talk about some other improvements for other programs here with the facilities in the coming years. And I think we'll see how everything settles down, but there's certainly a commitment here long term to sports above and beyond football and basketball for Penn State. And I think that is encouraging, because I still think there's a lot of questions surrounding how all of this is ultimately going to settle out when it comes to college athletics and the non-revenue producing sports. And, I think some of those concerns at least are assuaged some by seeing the financial commitment that Penn State and others are making in those sports, because presumably you wouldn't be making those if you think there's a real chance that those things are going to change the need for them in the near future. All right. The other thing I did want to hit on before we wrap things up today, this story is all over the place, but ESPN story, third consecutive year, the Miami Dolphins rank overall in the NFL Players Association annual report cards. This according to survey results obtained by ESPN. The Minnesota Vikings finished second in 2026, followed by the Washington Commanders in third. The NFLPA survey, writing that the Dolphins players consistently describe their organization as the best in the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers finished in last place for the first time in the 4-year history of the union's surveys. Last year, the Steelers ranked 28th. The Arizona Cardinals finished 31st in this year's survey, just in front of the Steelers. Cardinals were last season, and the Cleveland Browns finished 30th, which is the same as where they finished a year ago. The NFL Players Association does not make the report cards public after a grievance was filed by the NFL last season. NFL claiming that the survey violated the collective bargaining agreement. Earlier this month, an arbitrator agreed with the league, saying the report cards violated the collective bargaining agreement by disparaging NFL clubs and individuals. Well, that's an interesting interpretation to me. The NFLPA said it would continue to collect responses for report cards, even if it cannot publish them. And I'm not sure, so we're not getting the detailed surveys, but could you not make the argument that the Steelers and the Cardinals are still being disparaged, and the Browns being disparaged simply by the results of the rankings being released? From the ESPN story, a new category added this year. The Steelers had the lowest rated home field in the league. That was by a wide margin. That is not even mildly surprising. I don't know how you would expect anything different. That field is horrendous. Players, from the ESPN story, players cite inadequate maintenance and excessive wear from hosting local college and high school games. According to the survey, players across the league note the poor condition of the field and emphasize the need for investment to bring it back up to standard. The Steelers' locker room graded as an F. You know, for not allowing the information to be released, there sure seems to be a lot of information released in this survey. Steelers' locker room graded an F. Players reporting that it has only 5 bathroom stalls for the entire team. Per the survey, players report that the Steelers' training room lacks updated recovery technology and modern amenities. Pittsburgh strength coaches ranking last in the NFL, while the training staff ranks first in the NFL. Steelers senior director of communications, Burt Loughton, telling ESPN, quote, "We are not going to comment on a report that we have not seen in its entirety," unquote. Probably just as well. Yeah. There is no question that the field and the facility is not up to par with the Steelers, and that is an area that needs addressed and needs addressed sooner rather than later, regardless of whether you are being disparaged or not. So on that fun note, we are going to wrap things up. One final thought, just on the all of the stuff with the Olympic hockey teams, and now everybody feels seemingly like they have to weigh in and whether or not they did the right thing by going to the State of the Union, or the women are taking a stand, or this or that. I'm just going to go back to the moment itself, and this is why I think sports themselves are still that outlet for a lot of us, where we can just escape the so-called real world and get caught up and pretend like this is really meaningful. And it is meaningful in the moment. And again, for fans, it is a big deal, but it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, 99% of us plus, I think, recognize, okay. I mean, it's a big deal. It's important. It's fun. And then we get to the stuff that's really important and fun in our lives, and spending time with our kids, or, hopefully you have a job you enjoy, and all of those things. But to me, you just go back to the moment. And I think for most people watching the game, if you are an American and or a hockey fan, the moment of the gold-winning goal, it was just pure exuberance. I mean, I know I'm watching it on our TV in our living room, and I jumped off the couch, and I'm like, yes, and raised my fist as though I had a personal triumph there. But it did. It felt great in the moment. It was like, and I wish we could just enjoy that moment and remember the feeling of that moment, and then just hang on to that and not worry about any of the other stuff that seems to be now filtering in, and just recognize, man, that was awesome. Awesome moment for the United States, for the hockey program, and regardless of anything else going on, we got to celebrate that. Those guys put their heart and soul into it, got the result they wanted. That doesn't always happen. They did. We ought to be able to just enjoy that and celebrate it and recognize all of the great accomplishments for the United States at the Olympic Games this past year. And anytime anybody, anywhere wants to celebrate that and recognize it, my opinion, cool. Thank you. Thank you for doing so. That would be my preference. Not the way the world works, and I understand it as far as it goes. But man, I enjoyed the moment. We hope you have a lot of moments that you enjoy over the course of the weekend. We will be back on Tuesday with another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Until then, be good and be safe.